Hi guys, today we are going to do some really fun stuff. We are going to do some harvesting, we're going to do a little bit of maintenance, and we're going to do some more planting. Our last frost date isn't until the end of October, so we've got several more months of growing time. I'll talk a little bit later about how to figure out what you could still plant depending on when your first frost date is. But I would like to welcome you to my backyard at Kentucky Homestead. If you're new here, my name is Kim, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do today is harvest our March 20th planting of potatoes. I'm actually very surprised the ones I planted in January are still growing. They're, I would consider too green to pull, but the ones from March 20th are pretty well done. So what you want to do when potatoes are ready, they will usually have flowered. The leaves will start falling over, and they will also start turning yellow and brown, which mine mostly had done. So today we're pulling the Yukon Gold and the Red Norland. Let me share with you what I did earlier. So our March 20th potatoes, we have the Red Norland and the Yukon Gold, pretty much died back. We're gonna go ahead and harvest these. It's gonna get very, very hot this week, and I really don't wanna be out here when it's 90 plus degrees. We have a super fancy harvest box. So I did stop watering these about 2 weeks ago. They've only had a rain a little bit in between then and now. So they're pretty well dried out. I do have a couple that were at the top. This one's already green, so that's not usable. Once it turns green, I'll put the name of the chemical on the screen, but it will make you have stomach issues if you eat that now. So we won't be using that one. But that one looks good. So you could go ahead and cut off and then dig through, or you could also yank these up. Another option is just to dump the entire bag out onto like a tarp, and then you can just go through it that way. But I intend to replant these bags with lima beans. So we're gonna just, oh cool, potatoes! You'll have some really small ones. They're still usable. And what we'll do from here is that I'll need to go in and store them in a dark, well-ventilated area for a couple of weeks so that they will harden off. But again, they are usable right now. So these are obviously the Yukon Gold. That is from one 20-gallon bag. We got 5 more to do. Let's keep going. Look at that puppy. Whoa! This will be the last one of the Yukon Gold, and then the others will be the Red Norland. Here's what we ended up with for the Yukon Gold. We got some really nice looking potatoes. Some big ones. Oh, smaller ones, really small ones. But these will be really, really good. This is the first bag of Red Norland, so let's see how they did. We've got 3 bags of these, just like we had of the Yukon Gold. And we have red potatoes. These would be really good in a salad or like a potato salad. Just wash them, boil them up real quick, and they're ready to go. Looking good. So far, we have 2 Red Norland bags left. And I saw Kim's Cozy Corner, really good channel. She's up in Southwest Ohio. She actually grew potatoes indoors, so I think I'm gonna try that this year. You have to have grow lights. I couldn't, okay. To grow potatoes inside, I wouldn't be able to use a grow bag. I would have to have a large pot or some way to contain the water when you water them. So that is all of the Yukon Gold and the Red Norland potatoes. And I will weigh those inside and put a weight on the screen. But that is amazing. Okay, so the next task that we're going to take on is trimming these onions. My intention had been to leave these as they are, but as you can see, they are just becoming a hot mess. So we're going to go ahead and trim these down. Again, per my garden tour video, Luke from My Gardener suggested you should trim these down to help them stay upright longer. Once the neck of the onion and the leaves fall over, it signals to the onion to stop growing. So we want this to grow as long as we possibly can. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these the leaves up here so that they don't have as much weight on it. I also just did get my drip irrigation in this morning, so the onions themselves are a little wonky. So let's get them trimmed up, and then we'll also make sure that they're standing up. So all I'm going to do is just go ahead and trim them. I'm going to leave several inches on top. Okay, just clean them up. And then take off anything that is broken or bending. Just tucking around it so it'll stand up straight. These are our hot peppers, and we do actually have some in here, I think, that are ready to be picked, especially the Jedi jalapeno towards the far end of the bed. We also need to go ahead and tie these up. They're not currently supported by the stakes, and they're getting pretty tall, so let's go ahead and get those tied up, harvest a few, and then we'll see where we are. So these peppers are actually very, very loaded. This one's not ready yet, but we do want to tie this up. Yeah, but we've got some, these are, let me put it back here. So these are the Ancho Grande chili. So they're doing really, really well. I've not grown those before, so I'm not 100% sure when those will be ready. I'll need to look that up. So what I'm going to use to tie up the peppers is this soft, bendable wire. It's like a rubber-coated wire. I got this from Lima, a big spool of it, so I'm just going to use some of this to tie that up. It's very easy to untie, reposition. Just going to gently come around the post, or the pole, come around here and just get the stem of the plant. And we want this loose. We don't want to tighten it all the way down. We want it to have plenty of room to grow larger, and also to move around in the breeze, because we don't want it to snap. This one has 2 branches, and I don't want it to fall down. So I'm going to just choose one of the branches and connect it to the post. So these 2 here, which will be the last ones before those onions, are Mulatto Islano, and they are absolutely loaded up. That one doesn't look good. No reason to spend plant energy on it, but I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 peppers that are at least an inch long, and a whole bunch more that are starting just on that one plant. So that is a prolific one at this point. This is another one that's branching very nicely. So I'm going to just take part of the plant, put the tie around it, and put it onto the post. Move this pepper out of the way. This one back here is our Jedi jalapeno. I'm going to go ahead and take those 2. Those are really nice size. Then we'll tie that plant up as well. And what I'm going to do, just come in here and just snip it. And snip it. And then we have our first 2 Jedi jalapeno. So we'll tie that one up too. And there's at least 2 more already in the process of growing there. And there's a bunch more that have already started. Let's see, what is this one? This is also an Anaheim. And you've got pretty good sized pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and take that one. Try some of them. It's an Anaheim chili. And one of the things I'm wanting to do with these is to actually make my own canned, you know how you do the green chilies in a can. I want to try pickling some of my own. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish this bed up, and then I will show you what I've harvested after we're done. So I need your all's help. I tried growing broccoli and cauliflower last year. No luck. Of course, it got hit by the harlequin bee. That was like insanity. I haven't, knock on wood, had that issue yet this year. But I have no broccoli, I have no cauliflower. It's been in the ground since March. I see other people in my area are harvesting. I don't have any heads yet. So I'm a little stumped. The plants are actually good size. They do have some bug damage, but not excessive amounts. And my cabbages are doing great, but I have no broccoli, I have no cauliflower, not even the little beginnings of it. So if you guys have suggestions about what I could do differently or what I might be doing wrong, please let me know. I'd love some help with this because I'm confounded. We do have some rutabaga in there to harvest, and I think also some cabbage. So let's do that next. The white powder that you see on these is diatomaceous earth, which is ground up seashell. I think they're like microscopic seashell organism shells. It is a very, very fine powder. Feels like baby powder. The reason I use it, I wasn't able to find BT, which was kind of crazy, but I was having some slug damage, some caterpillar damage. Oops, there's one right there. I did find out recently that if you have a lot of wasps around your cabbages, you probably have cabbage worms. Apparently they like to grab those for their young, which is interesting. They are welcome to have as many little cabbage worms as they want. But where I couldn't find the BT, I went ahead and spread the diatomaceous earth all over, also on the ground and in between, because we've had so much rain. We've had just a tremendous amount of slugs, as well as other things, the cabbage moth and what have you. So this did actually, without even the BT, this did seem to help. So bring in a little closer here, and we have some purple top rutabaga. So this one I'm going to go ahead and probably leave in for now, but I am going to go ahead and pull this one out. It's not huge, but that's a good size for, you know, a small meal. All right, let's see what we've got. Oh, we've got quite a few in here. There's 1, 2. That's a big one. So we have 5 more of the purple top rutabaga. These are ones, I didn't know you could start them inside, but I heard you could. Got dust all over me now. They said you could start rutabaga indoors and transplant it, and it looks to have done beautifully well. So the garden is a little jumbled up because I was putting the drip irrigation in yesterday and today. We're supposed to have temperatures well above 90 next week, so I didn't want to have to be out here watering every day. These are early Jersey Wakefield. This, I think, is a golden acre. They are not large cabbages, even to start. I think they're like 1 to 2 pounds. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull 2 of them because I don't want them to crack. And I don't want them to get any more damage. It's not huge, but it'll work. The best way to pull the cabbage is just to twist it until the stem breaks. That leaves the root base in the ground, and you don't have, it's not so hard to pull it out. So let's see. Actually, this one's still, so what I'm looking for is that the cabbage grows like the shell, and then it grows inside. So the fuller it is inside, the harder it is. And then when it's hard, that means that is ready to harvest. So this one's still a little squishy. This one feels pretty good. Still think I'm gonna leave the others for now. That does give me another spot to put something. So this has my red acre cabbage in it over here. That is a much longer day. Supposedly the golden acre is 60 days. This is 65 days, but even last year, it took almost twice as long for the red acre cabbage to come along. I do still have this under tool nut, which has reduced significantly the amount of damage that the cabbages are taking. This one over here is a little discolored, so I want to check it before it gets sunburnt, or yeah, we'll go ahead and pull these two here. So all I'm using is just little binder clips. It's probably not a multi-year solution, but definitely usable for the metal beds here. So I'm just going to twist it until it breaks off. There we go. And then we're going to do the same with this one. There we go. So I got 2 more spots to put something. Woohoo! It's honestly very exciting to be able to add more seeds to the garden and see what grows. We'll wash these off, and then we've got 2 heads of cabbage. So in the middle of each of the tomato beds, I have basil, and it's getting very, very tall. So we need to prune, or we need to go ahead and harvest this basil so it won't bolt. So what I'm doing is that these little clips have a little notch there that the string will slide into. So I put the string into it first, and then I put the clip around the tomato and then just click it in place. So it gives it plenty of room, it can still move around, but it is more firm, more stable. But I definitely have way too many branches going on. I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off. And trim this one off. So again, what I'm trying to do is to keep space in between them, and I'm trying to keep plenty of airflow along the bottom of that. We have a very humid climate here during the summer. So this one here is laying way over this direction. So I'm going to move it back onto that side of the string and then tie it up. That way it's not going to lean so far over to its neighbor's area. And this quadro here is just going insane. It's almost as tall as I am. And it's in a 17-inch bed, but still, it's almost as tall as I am now. I also, with these ones on the corners, I will especially put my cherry tomatoes next to these posts. I think this is a quadro, so it's a paste tomato. Still, it has a lot of fruit on each of the trusses. So I do use this pole, the T-post over here, to help support the larger tomatoes too, because with the cherry tomatoes, you're really not supposed to prune those much, if at all. All right, I'm gonna get this done. I'm gonna turn the camera off because it's overheating, and I'm gonna get these tomatoes trellised up. So I just wanted to share this. This is my first ever tomatillo. So exciting! There's tons and tons of blooms on the plant, and then the other 2 small ones are over there. Next up. Apologize if I look like I'm covered in flour. I was trying to get the basil in between the tomatoes, and they're dusted with the diatomaceous earth, and I probably have it all over me. So what we're going to do next is going to start planting a few things. We're going to do some green onions. So I've got guardsman, Tokyo long white bunching, and red beard bunching onions. So these are 40 to 50 day. The Tokyo Long is 70 day, and the Guardsman is 50 days. So the allium will help to deter some pests, just because of the smell of the onion. They don't like it. It confuses them maybe. But we'll go ahead and get these planted within that. We'll still have green onions to use in recipes. So let's get started with that. So in these 3 bags, these were formerly the potato bags, I'm going to add some garden tone fertilizer and also some worm poop. some worm castings. And the worm castings adds a good bit of nitrogen. And then the other is a balanced fertilizer of 344 NPK. Nitrogen is what makes the plant green. Potassium, the middle number, is what causes the fruit development, flowering, and roots. And the potassium helps the overall metabolic health of the plant. Potatoes are very heavy feeders, so we want to make sure that we get this topped up with some fresh fertilizer. I'm just going to take a handful, spread around each one. This is a natural fertilizer. There are directions on how much to use, but I'm not going to worry about that. It's very hard using organic fertilizer to burn your plants. So what we're going to plant in these 3 bags are light red kidney beans, purple hull bean, purple hull pea bean, and then a Henderson lime. So I'm just going to mix this up. Okay. And the first one is going to be the Henderson lima bean. I made my tag. Good thing I haven't tagged a lot of stuff, so it's like I'll figure it out when it shows up. So this says 6 to 8 inches. It's good for containers and about a ½ an inch deep. So not really over worried about crowding this. I'm going to just put them all in here and let them go for it. Put them about ½ an inch down. And I will need to water these in. I will also need to get them set up on the drip. I do have the drip line right underneath it, so I can just connect right into that. Okay, so that's Henderson lime. It is likely, especially with the heat that's going to be coming in over the next week or so, it's going to be in the 90s with very high humidity. Talking heat indices, probably well over 100. So there's not a whole lot of structural items I'm going to be doing out in the yard. Probably at most I'll be watering any of the pots that I can't get tied into the drip system. I'm going to be working on that this week, but there's only so much you can do in a day. So it's likely that the extra beds that I wanted to put in over on that far side of the yard, where I have the Connecticut field pumpkin already, it's unlikely that I'm going to be able to get those other beds in early enough to actually get pumpkins planted out there. So I'm going to go ahead and change my plans for the main part of the garden. And the next 3 grow bags that had potatoes in them, I'm going to do 2 pumpkins and a winter squash. So, gotta be adaptable and change according to what's going on. I've tried to do so much this year, and I have honestly accomplished an incredible amount. But sometimes you just can't do everything, and you've got to reassess and back up a little bit and make a different plan. So, gotta be flexible and nimble, and it's all going so well anyway, so it'll be good. So this first bed we are going to do Jack the Little Pumpkin. They're super adorable, so I'm going to grow some of these for Halloween. I got literally 1 pumpkin last year. It was a Howden pumpkin. And I literally got 1 pumpkin about the size of my head. So it wasn't a whole lot. The Connecticut field pumpkin has tons and tons of flowers on it. Most of them are male so far. I don't think I've seen a female flower yet. But hopefully it will have some here soon. So anyway, we're going to get the Jack the Little Pumpkins planted in here, and then we'll move to the next bag. And we have the potatoes next door to it. So this says 15 seeds, 90 to 100 day maturity. So these will take quite a bit longer. Another thing, we were going to talk about planting stuff in the summer, especially when you get to June and July. You need to check to see the dates of germination and the maturity date. And then what you need to do is look for your average first frost date. And then you're going to count backwards. And that will tell you to the present time that you're wanting to plant. That'll tell you how many days you have until your first expected frost. So that will tell you if you've got time to actually grow this or not. Another thing that you need to consider is that after June 21st, the days start getting shorter. So it will take longer for things to mature when it comes to late August and September and early October, especially September and October. So usually the general rule is you're going to add 10 to maybe 15 days to the growth date. Our first frost date isn't usually until the very end of October, sometimes early November. So there's more than enough time. It's a little over 3.5 months for this. So then June, July, August, September. So I should have pumpkins around October. And as if you have to count on your fingers, you can also use an app. So this plant spacing is 4 feet. I'm going to put 2 to 3 seeds per hill. So I'm just going to put 2 to 3 seeds in this here in the center. And then what I'm going to do is just let it grow all the way around. And given past performance, I'm going to go ahead and do 5. Do a few extra seeds, and then I can thin it out later. And something that you can do, if you break off the very, very tip of that, just first this one's not going to do it. If you break off the very tip of that, it will allow water to go in there quicker, so it will germinate faster. Another option, you could soak these beforehand, but like I said, I didn't plan ahead well enough to do that. So for this one, we have the Winter Luxury Pumpkin. It is a orange pumpkin, but it has like a white sheen on it, almost like a crackle coat. It looks really, really pretty. 105 days to maturity, 7 to 14 to germinate, 4 to 6 feet spacing, 6 to 9 pound pumpkins. 1 inch deep, 2 to 3 per mound, full sun, 2 months storage. And then the final of the 6 grow bags is going to be a honey nut squash. This is like a butternut, only it's personal size. They're only maybe about that big. It's really good too. It's super sweet. So it has all the benefits of the butternut squash, but even better flavor and a higher sweetness factor. These are seeds I saved from last year's squash. It is extremely easy. If you are into growing squash, it is extremely easy. Squash, watermelon, cantaloupe, pumpkin. Literally, you could buy it at the store even. Probably. I don't know if there's non-heirloom types of squash, but just save the seed, clean it, dry it, put it away till next year. So these are the honey nut. I had quite a few vines of those last year, and they were just wonderful squashes. And I am going to overseed it, and then I will thin it out later on. And per the other ones, I'm putting them about 1 inch down. Put one more for good measure. There we go. We have our honey nut squash. Here's the harvest so far for 2024. For a small urban garden, I think this is pretty cool. We have 28 pounds of potato. We have 5 small rutabaga, 2 kohlrabi, 3 ancho chili peppers, 3 Jedi jalapeno peppers, 6 heads of cabbage. We have early Wakefield cabbage as well as golden acre cabbage. We have a bucket of basil to dry, and then a representation of the garlic that I've already pulled that is in the house drying. We got over 240 heads of garlic. I learned a lot of lessons. This is elephant garlic. It's huge. This is the soft neck garlic, which really has some issues. This is the hard neck garlic, so really good sized bulbs. Definitely, this is my second year growing garlic, and by far the best year. That didn't take much, but really good sized garlic heads. So we got 240 heads of garlic. Those are curing, and then we'll process those once they are done. So I will be doing a few things to finish up today. I won't do it off camera because it's going to take a little while. But I do want to plant some herbs. So I'm going to do some garlic chives, some thyme, some more cilantro. What I have is bolted, so I'm going to let that go ahead to coriander and then try to save the seed. And then I'm going to try sage. I've not had any luck with sage. I'm going to try one more time. And then just for the pleasure of trying to get something blue, and I'm going to try some of this blue wheat. It just looks so pretty. So I'm going to try a little bit of that. In addition to that, I'm going to go ahead and use liquid fertilizer on everything. You should do that probably about every 2 weeks. And what I'm going to use is the Alaska fish fertilizer. I'm also going to try this new one. I've been having a little bit of trouble getting fertilizer at a decent price. This is True Organic. It is a NPK of 232. I got it at Meyer. It was cheaper than the Espoma. It is OMRI certified, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a try with some fertilizer and give it a whirl. If you want to see how I got my potatoes off to a really, really great start and got such a great harvest, by the way, it was 28 pounds, people, 28 in 6 grow bags. I got 2 bags of seed potato. I got 28, so I more than doubled. I almost tripled what I got. If you want to see how I did that, be sure to check out this video. And until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me